Welcome to Beyond the Next Chapter. I am your host, Whitney Clark. If you're listening to my voice right now, you probably love books, or maybe you want to fall in love with reading. Either way, there's really nothing better than being around other people who love to read and even meeting local authors. And there is a bookish and author-inspired weekend coming to the Valley in January. It's called Readers of the Valley. It's going to be held in Glendale next year. And joining us now is Rebecca Lopez, who's hosting the event. She's also the owner of Sunrise Bookworm Co, which sells all of the bookish goods you could ever ask for: candles, cups, shirts, stickers, you name it. Becca, welcome.
Thank you so much, Whitney, for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you today.
I stumbled across Readers of the Valley on Instagram. Yes. Tell me a little bit about how this started. How did you come up with this idea?
So we have our company, Sunrise Bookworm Co., and it's for bookish people. And as I've delved into my own author journey, I have realized there wasn't a convention here in Phoenix for bookish authors. And traveling to all these other states is expensive for people. And authors, indie authors, traditionally published authors, they don't have that budget all the time. And I decided I'm going to use my platform to create something that is fun, inclusive, and exciting for authors of any genre, any stage of their career, to come and shine and meet new people. And like, the bookish community is probably the most loving, friendly, and accepting community I've ever been a part of. And to be able to connect with these people and give new authors a chance for their voice to be heard and shine just makes my day.
It's so cool, and I love the word bookish. It's just such a cute, cozy word. I love meeting other bookish people. It's going to be January in Glendale. What are some of those early details also that you can tell us?
So early details, event tickets are already on sale via our website. They're only available on sunrisebookwormco.com. We are going to have influencers, so influencer searches are coming up soon. We have a nice mix of authors of all genres. We have a few from Canada, coming from out of state. We are going to have a couple local bookish businesses as well. There's several bookish businesses here in the Valley that we've collaborated with that we're excited to have come and join and participate in all the fun. Preliminary details, I guess, most important. Buy your tickets soon because there is limited capacity. We don't want you to miss out on that event. Make sure to follow us at Readers of the Valley so you can stay up to date on all the latest details. We are doing our reveal of author lineups right now, and we're going to be doing some fun behind-the-scenes stuff too.
Cool. What was the response like from authors in the community here?
Why hasn't someone thought of this sooner? Thank you so much for doing this. I'm super excited for you. They're like, I'm just eager to be a part of it. It's just been warm wishes and excitement and positivity, and like, people reach out and like, do you think I'd be good for this? And I was like, if you believe in your work and I believe in your work, let's do it. Let's give you a place to present, and it's just great. I can't truly, I'm a writer, but the words can't describe the heartwarming, fuzzy feelings that I get knowing that these authors are choosing to come with us and invest in us like we invest in them to create something.
Mm-hmm. Is there a big community of authors in the Valley?
Yes. So the majority of the authors who applied are Arizona-based authors. I was actually picked up myself by a local indie author publishing company called Finch Benson on Instagram, Finch Benson Books. And there's about 12 of us in that publishing house alone. We've met another local publishing company that has another dozen authors. We hosted a pop-up market, and we had several local authors come and participate for meet and greets. The community of bookish creators and readers in the Valley is huge, but nobody wants to come visit because it's so hot.
Well, January is the perfect time.
Yes, January is the perfect time. It's also my birthday month, so I made this as my birthday gift to myself.
Oh my gosh, what a good gift.
Yes.
Has it been a lot of work?
Yes. So I do Sunrise Bookworm Co., Readers of the Valley. We have our own pop-up market called Sunrise Market, and I'm working on my debut novel. Everything is done in-house, from conception, production, creation to post office drop-off, by me and my husband Clay. So we're a two-man team. All social media is done by me, invoicing, tracking. It's a lot of hats, but I love it. People are like, you quit your 9-to-5 for a stay-at-home job. It's like, no, I quit my 9-to-5 for a 24/7 job. But I love it. Every day I get to wake up and do something that makes my heart happy and to make a difference for people, using my platform to connect with the community. is worth it. Like all the long hours, all the stress, all the headaches, because when you get that person that says, you're doing a great job, or the perspective that I have X amount of thousand people who like my page, if they lined up in front of me and told me they liked what I did, how great would that be?
What did you do before this? And was it hard to make that transition?
So I've had a few careers actually. I was a high school English teacher for a little bit, and I loved that. Health reasons, I had to quit that, and then I ended up in restaurant management for about a decade. And I briefly did a project coordinating position for a construction company. Okay. But during all of that, since 2019, I had Sunrise Bookworm Co. And that was always my passion to take it full time one day. So it was my part-time hustle. I'd go work my full 40, come home at night, and I'd bust out orders, do social media, and rinse and repeat. And as of February of this year, I was able to take it full time. Wow. And my husband was able to join me full time in May as well. So it's our full time occupation. We're living the dream right now as small business owners.
That is so cool. For people not familiar, we talked about it just at the very beginning of the podcast. Tell me what Sunrise Bookworm Co. is.
Sunrise Bookworm Co. is your one-stop bookish gift shop. We want you to treat your shelves, because it's nerdy, and nourish your body. So we are inspired by books, TV shows, and just general literary inspirations. If you don't see a literary inspiration, it's a personal inspiration. Like one of our best-selling candles is Happily Ever After, which is inspired by my wedding cake and champagne toast, because it's champagne, strawberries, and vanilla. Another bookish popular one is Belle's Library, which is roses, white tea, and old books. So we have coffee collections, and the really fun part about doing everything in-house is we collaborate with local indie authors. So I have a local author named Ashley Hardy, and then I have Finch Benson books, and we have a Vanessa Racin in our collection. Just all these different authors that we collaborate with, and we create product inspired by their books, and it's out there in the world for them. And we do candles, wax melts, soaps. I have like 8 different products, so be sure to check it out. There's lots to see.
That is so cool. And you're writing your first book right now. Was it difficult to get a publisher? I mean, what is it like writing your debut novel? I can't imagine.
So I reached out to Finch Benson Publishing, and I was asking for a social media job to see if they just needed some help. And we got to talking, and I was telling them, picking the brain, how do I get into this? And they asked to read a blurb of mine. And they're like, you know what? We really like this. We'd like to invest in you and cultivate you. So they're my editor now, and I feel like I got really lucky. It was the right moment at the right time to partner with them. And this novel started out as a fan fiction, actually. So I've been writing it for about 8 years now, and it's a trilogy at this point that I have to just edit. And it's a supernatural romance. It's got werewolves, hunters, small town vibes, friends to lovers. It's all the fun things.
What is your favorite genre of books?
Growing up, it's always been fantasy. I've always been a fantasy girl. I loved The Maze Runner, Harry Potter, Divergent, and then I kind of fell out of reading novels and went to fan fiction for a few years, and then I read A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I fell in love with the reading world again, and it just ignited everything in my heart, and yeah.
Cool. For people that aren't familiar, what is fan fiction?
Fan fiction, I'm nerding myself out right now. So fan fiction is fan-created stories within the realm of an already written novel. So it's like taking the A Court of Thorns and Roses story, but you're going to make an AU about it. Instead of Fairy ending up with Rysand, we're going to put her with Cassian instead. So authors who are just regular writers going on to internet platforms, and they publish their stories for other people to read and write comments and interact with each other.
What has been some of the most popular fan fiction? I mean, you know what I mean? Is there fan fiction that's been really popular surrounding any of the big novels? I mean, The Fourth Wing, I know, Court of Thorns and Roses is really popular as well.
Yes. So back in the day, it was HP. And then as we've gotten into modern age, it's A Court of Thorns and Roses, a lot of fantasy, but a lot of contemporary romance as well is what I'm noticing. But the community is just a great bunch of authors, and they like breaking the mold and tinkering and seeing what they can come up with based off of the world the author built, and they just get to play in it, which is a lot of fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about the Readers of the Valley.
Yes.
Is this an event for any type of reader? Is it mostly for authors? What is really your ultimate goal?
My goal is to create a place within the community for authors at any stage in their career, and a reader from your average reader to your diehard reader to come in and expose themselves to new genres, new books, new people. I want someone who feels a little introverted and like, I want to be more social to come to this event and be surrounded by people who welcome them with open arms. Like, I want it to be a convention, a community where you see someone standing alone in the corner like, hey, come join us. We've got friendship bracelets. We've got this activity. Let's hang out together. I want that warm, fuzzy atmosphere, I guess. Inclusivity is important to us. We have authors of all ethnicities, genders, sexualities, cultural ethnicities. We were really big on making sure we had a diverse group because as a Latina business owner, it's big for me to make sure everybody feels included no matter where they're at in life.
Are there any authors you can share that have confirmed they're coming yet, or are you still working on that list?
Oh, no, we have at least 50 already confirmed. They are slowly being released on Readers of the Valley at Instagram. One of the it's super exciting because I've seen some of these authors start off as babes with their like drafts, and now they're published and they're super big. So there's Sloane St. James, who is a romance author, and she's fantastic. There is I'm blanking now.
That's okay.
I think
it's a lot of names, I'm sure.
Yes, Nanji Jamerson, Eleanor Rose, Kat Coles from Canada. We have TJ London is coming.
Okay.
So many authors. If you go look on our Readers of the Valley Instagram page, they each get their own individual post, and it talks about what their works are, what they're bringing to the convention.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And is it a Saturday and a Sunday?
Yes, so it's a Saturday and Sunday event. There's 3 different tiered packages. There's the base package, the VIP package, and the platinum package. And on our website, it tells you what comes in each package. They're all very affordably priced. And if you're smart and shop savvy and follow us on Instagram, there's usually special discount codes or sales. So keep an eye on that.
Oh, we love it.
Right?
We love a sale.
It's girl mathing.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Right?
Have you been to these types of conventions in other states? And what was your sort of experience in other places?
So I have never been to an out-of-state book convention. I've only been to little conventions here within Arizona, the Tucson Festival of Books, which is not little, but I've been to that one as well. And it's an experience. I think Comic-Cons are more of what I've been to, and I've kind of drawn off that inspiration. But previously I did business-to-business marketing and pop-ups, and that kind of translated into what I could do for Readers of the Valley, taking all that knowledge and that skill set of what I knew how to do in a business level and translating it into an author creative level.
You were able to turn your bookish business into a full-time business. Are you surprised that you were able to do that within just a couple of years?
So we're at the 5-year mark now, and everybody says it's at that 5-year mark where you really have to like make or break it. And I've had moments where I wanted to give up, where I said, I can't do this. This isn't going to be possible. It's too much. It's too hard. But I couldn't let it go. It was my baby. It's something I wanted. And I'm shocked every day that I wake up and I'm like, I get to do this. But at the same time, I'm very persistent and resilient. And I think the only person in my life who's ever told me I can't do something is myself. So once I put my mind to something, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
It started off with wanting to make a Christmas gift for my husband, and he loves Flagstaff and the smell of pines. So I made him a candle that smelled like pine trees, and he loved it. And his reaction to that candle just clicked. And I was like, well, what's something I want to smell? So I made Java Junkie, which was inspired by Gilmore Girls.
Oh.
And then it started from there, and I was like, okay, let's do this genre. Let's do this genre. It's like, hey, I could actually make something of this. And it expanded from candles to wax melts to soaps, which we use every day because goat's milks nourish your body, and we put essential oils in them so they're fragrance and antibacterial. Our bookmarks are made in-house, our stickers. Getting to create anything my mind wants to do is fantastic.
Yeah. I actually just only recently started watching Gilmore Girls for the first time, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to watch it. And it's just such an adorable show, and it has like the coffee, the books, the just autumn, fall vibes. I mean, I honestly started watching it because I was like, it's hot outside. I need like a taste of fall, and it just is the perfect show for that.
So Gilmore Girls is the reason I decided to become a writer. I was 11 years old, and I started watching the show, started sneaking coffee, which was more cream than coffee, and then I started writing. And my original writing style was in screenplay writing. So I was doing screenplay writing, doing writing on WB boards, And it just evolved from there. And I think that love from wanting to be like Rory Gilmore inspired the Sunrise Bookworm Co. because books, writing, nerdiness.
Yeah. I'm only on like episode 3.
It's gonna be a wild ride. You're gonna love it. It's good.
I love that she loves to read. I mean, she hasn't gotten into the writing yet, but she loves to read, and I love that about her. So I actually told one of my friends, and they're like, I'm so shocked that I would have figured you would have watched that show and had the merch.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, I don't have the merch, but I will absolutely be getting the merch as soon as possible.
Yes. We have it's inspired by stuff in our shop as well, too.
Okay, I love it.
But what's great about that show as well, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
That's okay. I mean, Gilmore Girls is a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about. No, I was reading like Ernest Hemingway and Ayn Rand at like 12, 11 years old. Did I understand it? No, but because Rory and Jess were reading it, I had to read it.
Yeah. What books do you love to read now? How has your reading style changed over the years?
So, hardcore fantasy girly who was stuck in the early 2010s, constantly just rereading the same 10 books. But I've gotten into my contemporary romance era and my indie author era. Okay. So right now I'm reading a motorcycle club inspired romance by an author named Sinclair Kelly, who is also going to be attending Readers of the Valley. I've made an effort to just start reading something from every author that's attending.
Oh, that's cool.
So I can have something to connect with them and be like,
I love that.
I know what you are.
Yeah. So indie authors, why do you seek out indie authors specifically?
So that's a great question. I think it's because I feel like indie authors kind of get overlooked sometimes in the big industry. They're like the unsung players. They have to do their own marketing. They have to pay for it out of pocket. They're the one doing everything behind the scenes. And I want to give them a place where they feel supported and they have that acknowledgement that I see you, you're heard, and you're going to do great. Because those indie authors are eventually going to be those big popular authors, and I hope they'll remember me when they're big and famous.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Because it is so easy to get swept up in what the most popular books are, and getting swept up in like book talk and books on Instagram that people are talking about. So it's so great and refreshing to hear about some of those indie authors as well.
Yes.
How do you read? Do you use a Kindle? Do you use hardcover books? Do you do audiobooks? Kind of a mix of all three?
So I buy books for trophies so they look pretty on my shelf. And then I'm actually an audiobook girly. Okay. For years, I was anti-audiobook. I was like, that's not real reading. And then I just got so busy. I was like, I want to read, but I have so much to do. So I tried it, and I'm like, this is fantastic. I'm like, what have I been doing all my life? So I utilize the Libby Public Library app because I like to keep the community going and give back to the library when we can. And I get my audiobooks through there. And I just pop them in, and I get to work pouring candles, doing administrative work. And
I love that. Because one of the biggest kind of questions I get is people are always like, how do you find time to read? How are you able to read so many books? And I do a lot of nonfiction by audiobook. I mean, I tend to read fiction, but nonfiction I'm constantly listening to.
Yeah.
How has that shaped your experience as a reader and a writer? I mean, as listening to more audiobooks now, has that changed your taste at all?
I think it has. And I think it's also made me hone in more on the world building and the descriptions of what your characters are doing, how the world looks, what the senses are. Because when you're listening to it, when you read it, you see it in your head. But when you're listening to it as well, it activates a different sense in a way, so you're processing it differently. And for me, it's more, oh wow, because let me rephrase that. Because I make candles, when I listen to books, I'm looking for keynotes of sense, inspirations, keynotes of words that I can connect and draw to. Okay. Like for we have inspirations for the Akatar series. They all have a citrus and C note undernote in them because of the town that they're in and a mention in the story.
Okay. Yeah. Any advice you would have for people who are trying to get into reading? Because that's another thing that a lot of my friends say, oh, my goal this year is to get into reading. What would your advice for those people be?
Read a short story. So I fell in love with reading again when I got older when I took like 5 literary classes in community college, and we were reading short American literature and short British literature. You can get a PDF online. Edgar Allan Poe's anything by Poe is great. They're short, they're tension building and you get a resolution within 10 pages. And I think it's that satisfaction of finishing something that book readers like. Like, I finished this. I'm so accomplished. So you get that little adrenaline boost by reading a short story, but you're getting to understand the complex nature of a novel, the rising tension, the climax, the fall, but in a concise way. And that way people can feel like, oh, I've read. I've gotten a dabble in it. And then they figure out what type of genre they like. So then they can go to the bookstore and find books in that genre.
Yeah. Do you use Goodreads or Storygraph or anything like that?
Storygraph. I'm a Storygraph girly.
I need to figure out Storygraph because I'm on Goodreads and I just feel like I don't want to start over with Storygraph. I think you can export your data, but it doesn't ever seem to work for me.
So I'm like a little vieja lady who can't figure out technology. Like, you try to get me to Instagram and I'm like all shaky, and TikTok, I can't do it. But I love Storygraph because it's like color coded. So you get this graph and it like shows you the colors of all the different genres you read, and then like a graph of the different speeds of the books. And I'm a visual person, so it's really fun to see. And you can pick like, if it's a physical version, an ebook version, and it tracks the hours of audio versus physical. And
okay.
It's fun.
Cool. I'm going to have to do that. Today I'm going to do that because everyone says it's better and I just haven't gotten there yet, but I will. But there is like a satisfaction in marking something as read.
Yes.
It's like really very nice.
And then you can update your progress. So like if you read for an hour, you can go and update your progress on your audio or your physical, and you're like,
I do that for like my 40 friends that are following me.
I'll be sure to follow you.
Okay,
get a Storygraph and I'll come follow you.
Yes. Is there anything else you want people to know about Readers of the Valley? Again, coming up in January, anything you want folks to know? When will like the final program, I guess, be finished?
So final program should be finished by mid-November. We want to try and get everything finalized before the holidays so people have time to plan, budget, prepare, schedule their travel and everything for that. So be sure to sign up for our website newsletter on sunrisebookwormco.com to stay up to date on all the latest details. It all comes from that platform, or follow us on Readers of the Valley on Instagram. We'll be sure to give you all the latest news so you guys can be prepared for a fun, wonderful time.
Okay, Becca, thank you so much for joining us. It's been so fun talking to you, and we'll have to get out there and cover it when it's in town in January.
Yes, I'd love to have you guys come.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today.